I'm going to call to order the Executive Committee meeting December 18th, 2024 at 9 a.m. and we'll start off with a roll call.
Mr. Hess? Ms. Polk? Ms. Polk?
Yes.
Mr. Seroy? Ms. Weber?
Present, I'm sorry.
Oh. Ms. Weber? Ms. Parker? Mr. Carrico? Mr. Featherling? Mr. Kirkstra? Mr. Hunter? Mr. Smith?
Present.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Ashcraft? Ms. Monday? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
Mr. Long?
Present.
We do have a
We
quorum.
have a quorum. Okay. Next up, we have public comment. Jason Diaz, if you'd like to come up to the mic. Come up to the back, or actually come up to the front. It's right there. Will you grab that mic? Yep. Sorry about that, Jason. No, you're good to go.
Good morning, members of the board. First, I would like to congratulate Mr. Eric Peterson on his appointment as the superintendent of the Kankakee County Veterans Assistance Commission. Having Eric and Karen in that office is the equivalent of having like a Bill Belichick and Nick Saban on the same team coaching. I want to address the board today in regard to some veterans issues. As with everything in life, you have bad and you have good, and that is no different when it comes to veterans. There are some veterans that feel simply because they are veterans, they are entitled to do things that are just blatantly untrue. They're not, and they're lying. Recently, there's been a veteran making absolute and complete lies on social media regarding the Veterans Assistance Commission and an organization that is very dear to me, and that's Project Headspace and Timing. Any veteran in this county will tell you, no matter where they've lived in this country, this Veterans Assistance Commission in this county is the best one they've ever had. I can call thousands of veterans that I've served with and ask them how their county Veterans Assistance Commission is, and they will tell you you'll hear horror stories. So when I get things brought to my attention, because people know that I'm a veteran, people know that I'm deeply involved, especially with the local veteran organization, about veterans just making blatant lies about people or veterans that have served, veterans that are working for the Veterans Assistance Commission, it upsets me because you know it's not true. And for those of you that do know me, you know I am 100% all about government accountability when it comes to money. My tax money, we live in one of the most taxed states in the union. So I absolutely hold everyone accountable if you work for the government to how you spend your money. This veteran has been making posts and posting about the veterans housing that's on Schuyler Avenue. This veteran, she posted a picture of a veteran that works for the VAC of his vehicle. This veteran is 100% PTSD. He has a lot of things going on. When he's seen his vehicle posted online with completely false allegations, it did not do him any good. He's now, I'm sure, going through some things because of that. Because now his vehicle is posted online. Why? Because some veteran who is disgruntled, who felt that she was wronged by the Veterans Assistance Commission, and unfortunately, you can't do anything legally, because if you could, I would personally do it. So now I have to help my friend, I have to talk to my friend who served this country, did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, who's having almost like breakdowns now because he's terrified that his vehicle and that people are going to judge him and think that he has something to do with the blatant lies that are being told. There are thousands of veterans in this county that have made it out of the holes, dark places, because of Eric Peterson. And to hear his name ran through the mud is insulting to every veteran in this county, including myself. I wouldn't be here today doing the things that I do for the veterans of this county if it wasn't for Eric Peterson and Karen Svetansky. If you have a legitimate gripe about money being spent, county money, tax money being spent in a wrong way, by all means, bring it to the attention. But bring facts. Show me the proof. Because I've had involvement with this veteran, and she accused the county board at one point in time of giving money to giving cash to the VAC under the table. And I said, show me the proof. When I asked her to email me the documents, she then said I was in cahoots with them. And it's just, again, I wish there was a legal remedy to this, because this veteran, every time she harasses the Veterans Assistance Commission, she's taking away from resources from veterans, because now they have to look up all this information that is unnecessary. Meanwhile, veterans are waiting to get claims and stuff done. By the move of the VAC going over to by the federal clinic, it has increased their workload insane, which is good, because the veterans deserve this, what we're supposed to be giving them. And this is just taking away from that. And I hope none of the county board members or anyone that works for the county, I hope none of you take any credence to what this veteran says, because it's lies and it's insulting to all of us. I want to thank you all for your time. I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. No other public comment. We don't have any presentations for today, so I need the approval of the minutes for October 22nd, 2024 and November 2020 or November 22nd, 2024. Do I have a motion to combine and approve those?
Polk.
First by Polk, second by Hunter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Nothing under legislative. Next up, we have information systems. Jason Shane with a monthly update. If you'd like to come to the front, Jason.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know you guys got a lot to cover, so I'm going to keep it kind of brief. We're just going through our normal day-to-day service calls. Currently, we did have a number of accounts switched over, of course, you know, with our new board members, a couple of departments. We had new people that we had to do setup for. We're currently deploying out the UPSs that Kevin spoke about last month for all the phone switches, to make sure that they don't have a interruption of service in between going from the power to loss of power to the generator. Those will be completed by the end of this year. We are also starting the process of various department updates to swap out their computers. We're starting in Public Defender and then moving on from there to get them to Windows 11 and be more ready for the new O software, and they can better utilize the new software for Tyler. Also, just as a reminder, this is that time of year where you will see an uptick of spam emails. Always be vigilant, especially with the county board's email addresses, because they are out there to the public. The easiest way to identify them is if you hover your mouse or click on the email address it's coming from. You'll see it's not coming from a k3county.net account. It might say it's someone from this account, but it's not coming from that. Or if they say that don't call them because they're in a meeting, or if they make it sound like it's something urgent or things like that, those are kind of obvious red flags. You're always more than welcome to reach out to me, and I will definitely look into it. But that's really all I have, if there's anything else.
Any questions for Jason? Mr. Hunter?
Mr. Chairman, Jason, congratulations on your upward mobility spiral and your position which you have. You were trained by the best.
Yes, I was.
And we appreciate your ability to come before us. I know Andy want to put you in a position whereby you can interface with everybody, and we appreciate that. I was just wondering, in terms of enhancing your skill sets, will you be going to any workshops externally?
The one thing about, even not only in this position, but even as a system administrator or with our new employee, and Kevin has always made sure is we're always learning. There's always new technology coming out. We're always learning. Thankfully, nowadays, we don't have to go to workshops per se. There's tons of information out there. You just have to look for it. But we're always increasing our skill level to better suit the county.
Any more questions for Jason? And Chris, you wrote a good article on him, so I appreciate that.
Big shoes to fill.
Yes. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Health Department, John Beavis. He is not here today. Mr. Carrico?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to not talk about his report, but in relation to the health department, I would like to say something about a comment that was made during our full board meeting. And after the meeting, I contacted the health department to find out more about the issue, and I just wanted to give some update on that. And the complaint was made to the health department on October 9th, 2024, with the possible insect on the meal, and then pictures was attached, but no physical evidence of the alleged insect was given to the health department, just a picture. Then the complaint was actually investigated right next day, and there was no evidence of any insect infestation on the location, on the place. And the inspector contacted the person making the complaint on 15th of October, right after, a few days after, informing the results of the inspection. Another inspection was also was done on the 11th or November 14th, again, with no evidence of any infestation of an insect there. So after the fact, everything was communicated with the person making the complaint, and then the case was closed. Now, one thing that I like to add is for future reference that the Kankakee County Health Department is supervised by the Board of Health and not by the Kankakee County by the Kankakee County Board. And anyone with any issue concerning the operations of the Kankakee County Health Department, welcome to come to the Board of Health, which we generally meet on the third Thursday of each month at 5 p.m. at the Health Department. That's what I have. Thank you, so.
Thank you, Mr. Carrico. Mrs. Weber?
I wanted to comment on one of the items in the report that my husband and I did go to the health department on the last Tuesday of November, and in 15 minutes we got our flu shot, our COVID shot, and our RSV shot in 15 minutes, and the nurse was Denise Coy, did a super job. Juan welcomed us, so I urge everybody that you don't have your shots in 15 minutes, you can be shot.
Thank you, Carol. Any other questions? Right. Under schools, we have Frank Pekunis. He's not here today, so we're going to move on to the VAC, and I'm going to have Eric Peterson come up. And I need a motion to approve his monthly report. First by Hunter, second by Hess. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Welcome, Eric. If you want to give yourself a quick introduction and
yes,
go from there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and thank you again for having us on this agenda. My name is Eric Peterson, born and raised in this county, deployed with Charlie Company, 1st 178th Infantry Regiment to Afghanistan from 2008 to 2009. I definitely appreciate the welcome home we got in 2009 when we came home, and I am thankful and honored to be the superintendent of the Veterans Assistance Commission of Kankakee County. So thank you guys very much for having me here. I'm fairly new to this position, so I apologize if I speak incorrectly at any point in time or use the wrong terminology. So to give you a little bit of an update as far as some things that are happening with the Veterans Assistance Commission. So since we have moved to the location on William Latham Drive, where the community-based outpatient clinic for the VA is right down the hall, we have seen a direct impact as far as the amount of veterans that we have been able to serve. From the perspective of just the amount of forms we receive, every year from 2021 to 2022, when we first moved over, we saw an increase in over 1,000 forms, and then to 2023, we've almost doubled to 5692. As far as this year is concerned, we're closing in on just over 6,200 forms that we are doing for the veterans that are there. From a financial assistance perspective, we've actually had 3 veterans this year that we've been able to move off of our financial assistance program because we were able to connect them with the benefits that they are owed. 2 of them were actually awarded over $50,000 in retro pay, in addition to being 100% service connected for things that happened to them in service. So we're actually able to take them off of the financial assistance, which is the goal. In addition to that, which we will be providing with our governor's report, we will be able to show you the amount of federal dollars we have been able to bring in through all of those claims. I believe as of right now, we're closing into just over 2.9 million over the past year. And in addition, and that is just with retro payments. In addition to that, those veterans are also going to be having monthly installments that they are again owed, which is phenomenal. In addition to that, from the outreach perspective, in my time working throughout Kankakee County with all the different communities, we believe as the Assistance Commission that we have to make more of an effort to get to all of the different areas. My friends over at NABVETS, Dr. Leonard Porter, and over down in Herscher, Aroma Park, Moments. So we have an outreach VSO. His name is Ty Watson. He was a Navy corpsman for 12 years. He has a golden retriever service dog that recently graduated named Maverick that he has with him most of the time. And he will be our outreach VSO. He'll be going to different legions around the area, veteran organizations in the area, just to make sure that any veterans that are having a hard time traveling to our office know that we're going to reach out to them as well. In addition to that, when we began conversations with the Housing Authority when the Permanent Supportive Housing Project went up on Washington, we were able to ensure that the Housing Authority knew that if they were going to provide a supportive housing project for veterans, that they needed support. And as an Assistance Commission, it is our job to provide that support. So that outreach VSO will also be working out of that office, out of the Liberty Lodge, at least 2 days a week to ensure that the veterans that are staying there are getting connected to the resources that they need, also making sure that different service organizations that operate in the veteran space are going to be out there, so those veterans again will just make sure that not only they get the support that they need, but then that other veterans in the community know that they have another place that they can go to for help. In addition to that, in 2025, we're excited to partner with the Kankakee Public Library. We are looking on Fridays potentially to have a veteran service officer along with Hines VA over at the Kankakee Public Library, so we can take walk-ins as well. And then within the past couple of months, since I've been in this role, I've started a veteran suicide prevention coalition with Hines VA and several mental health providers in Kankakee County, where we're working on what we're doing to really combat the suicide epidemic that we have seen. And in addition to that, we have also formed a homeless veteran continuum of care, which is a routine meeting that we have again with Hines VA Hospital and several of the other homeless veteran related organizations to make sure that when veterans in our area, regardless of what they need, we're able to support them as best as we can, not just as an assistance commission, but also due to all of the relationships that we have with the other great organizations in this area. I believe that is about all that I had to say, unless anybody had any questions
for Eric. First by Mr. Hunter.
I'll yield to my learned colleague from Pembroke.
Mrs. Foster.
Thank you. Good morning. Do you have a contact number for Mr. Watson?
I do. I can give that to you if you'd like. I have both our office number and then his cell phone number. And is that okay if I give that to you after this?
Yeah.
Okay.
My other question was the housing facility on Washington.
Yes.
Do they accept female veterans or is it just for males?
They accept female veterans as well. They are doing applications actually today. And I believe as of right now, there are 2 female veterans that have submitted applications for that housing project.
Okay, because I hadn't seen that information anywhere, and I think a lot of people probably assume that it's just for males, but that's good to know because there's a lot of female veterans who are homeless as well.
Yes, and we can absolutely work harder from a marketing perspective to make sure that it's very clear how open we are over at that project.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Peterson, I really appreciate the oral presentation, the information that you provided to us, and I think you probably had the attention of all of us seated here in terms of the specificities and the scope and range of the information that you provided to us. And I just want to congratulate you,
Thank you, sir.
for that information that you provided to us. With respect to your fiscal situation, and I assume you've been aware of the problems and associated with that, are you on target to meet your budget?
I believe so. Also, we have been working with the county auditor. I haven't had a chance to meet with him yet, but we are scheduling a meeting so we can iron all this out and ensure that as the Veterans Assistance Commission is concerned, we can operate with full transparency, have no questions, and make sure that everybody understands that we are operating the way that we need to be.
He's got an open door policy, and when you walk by there, you can see him or hear him and stuff. We appreciate that, but I look forward to working with you. I was never in the military. When they had the lottery, I was at fraternity house and they were calling the numbers. My brother and myself, true story. And the fourth number they called was April 24th, and I almost passed out because my birthday is April 25th. So no matter what, if you're an A student or whatever, if you're get that kind of number, you're going to be gone to Vietnam. But I'm pleased with your service, your reputation, and the syntax and scope of the information provided us. We appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
And we're
very
happy
much.
to have you back here, so.
Thank you.
Mrs. Weber?
I wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed the open house at the Liberty House when I visited there. At that time, I think you were waiting for an elevator.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's come, and that's why you're accepting applications, because they're ready to be residents, right?
Correct.
You could have 14, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Any more questions? All right, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Next up, we have the County Administrator, Anita Speckman, with a monthly update. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So in terms of openings, we remain at a rather low number. Last month, we had 5 openings. This month, we have 6 openings, 5 positions. There are 2 openings for public defenders, assistant public defenders, 1 part-time, 1 full-time. Those are new coming on. Deputy coroner is a new position that came on as well. So pretty light hiring period, which is typical of this time of year. Let's see. Other than that, really the big thing, obviously, the last month has been open enrollment, which has required our attention. I'll say it like that. But we did successfully end open enrollment. We were able to there are about 550 employees that are eligible for benefits, including retirees, et cetera, that go through that. Public Health uses the system, CANCOM uses the system, and Regional Office of Education in addition to the county employees. So lots of activity going on during that period, a lot of interaction with employees and retirees, et cetera. So that did end on Sunday. We're finishing up some work, checking some issues that were glitches throughout the process that we were assured were going to be fixed once the window closed. So Joanne's got a little bit of checking left to do, but preliminarily it looks like everything happened the way it was supposed to. So at this point, our piece of the actual enrollment is done. It is over at Paylocity and Web Benefits. There's automatic feeds both to our vendors. Most of our vendors are on auto feed. So they actually get sent the files of all new enrollees or changes or existing enrollees, etc. And then also a back feed into Paylocity so that the right deductions get taken from the first paycheck, which is issued on January 10th. So there's still that work to do. There's other work that has to be done within our office that relates to additional, sometimes if people request additional life insurance, there is some paperwork that has to be filed. So that has to be tracked and completed before that can be processed. And then the HSA, that's always kind of a lot of busy work trying to get people, once they sign up for an HSA, to ensure that they've got that account set up at the bank so that can be, the deduction from their paycheck can be sent over to the bank. So that all happens yet. So there's still some work that gets done in January from our perspective, but hopefully everything runs smooth. So we'll see. The big piece is over. The big push is over. For negotiations, we've had two, since our last meeting, 2 meetings with the corrections. If you remember right, the deputies, that was approved at the last board meeting, so that one's done for a period of 4 years. We're working on a contract with the corrections group, which is right now at 105, 106 people. So it's our largest group. So we've met twice with that, and that we continue to work on that, and we'll bring you an update when available.
Any questions for Anita? Mr. Hess?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Anita, anything new on IMRF? The system?
No. I would say overall we continue to have, I mean, you know, we received them yesterday. I mean, we hear stories often from people about the struggles that have been there since March. I will say Joanne did get a good report this week. It was one small advantage. Last year when our renewal rates are rates for IMRF that the county pays, we pay a certain percentage of, you know, the 4.5% or 7.5% that's deducted from our employees' check is one piece of what gets sent to IMRF every month. The other one is the county receives a rate based on where our funding percentage is, and it's based on several things. They do an analysis of where we are funded compared to what the estimated amount will have to, our estimated liability. So that rate that the county pays changes every year based on that. And so we have 3 different funds: the regular fund, the SLEP fund, which is our deputies, and then the ECHO fund, which is an old fund that hasn't had new enrollees since maybe 2000, something like that. It was offered to elected officials, and while it was discontinued by the county a long time ago, it stays in force until every participant and every participant's spouse is no longer receiving benefits. So that continues to, that's an actual expense every year as well. So last year what we got was, here, look at this screen, the first one in the, I think January, they sent us the preliminary, and we literally said, okay, well, we got to type it in Excel. We didn't get any report. You could see it on screen. That was it. So I think yesterday or the day before, Joanne actually said there must have been enough people complaining because we got a report that kind of mirrors what it used to look like. There's one little piece that's missing that we have to ask them about for the ECHO plan, because we have no current participants. For the other 2 plans, what happens is we pay a percentage of our payroll, right, every month. Well, because there are no current participants in the ECHO plan, we get a flat rate amount that's due every year. Well, they gave us the percentage of payroll rather than the flat rate. So we need to know what that flat rate is so we can pay the right amount. So that's the only piece that's missing out of that report. But it seems that at least in one small aspect, something was addressed. but we continue to struggle.
Any more questions? Mr. Hunter?
Necessarily, but Anita, you and Joanne have a wealth of information, and you possess some amazing skill sets. My comment is there a transition plan? Is there any backup? Heaven forbid that something happens, that who might be able to step in and address those things that you and Joanne do?
If something happens to the both of us?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm not suggesting that, or even, but I'm just saying things happen.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just.
Right, we understand. We've been meeting with the new chairman regarding what proper staffing for our department.
And I think he recognizes that, and
We're in the works on
Yeah.
that, so.
and I appreciate that he's proactive and he's open, and I always maintain that when you're in a new position, you got to be a sponge and take in all the information. And what I really appreciate from talking with him, he's amenable, and he listens, and he acts appropriately, as opposed to, I'll take it under advisement and I'll get back to you. None of that bullshit. But he actually listens.
Yeah, no, we have.
Yes, I'm sorry
yeah.
to say.
We have a great group here, and we're constantly talking about how to evolve our administration side. So,
Good. It's an ongoing process.
yes. Thank you very much, Anita.
Yes.
So next up, this is something different. We decided to combine community service, which we haven't had a community service meeting in a year and a half. So I figured to give everyone a voice on here, the county assessor, county clerk, recorder, and then also Tinker Parker with AWAC, I wanted to bring them back to executive so they could now have a voice again and give their report. And so we're going to start that off this year, and it's going to continue. So first up, we have the county assessor's monthly report, Eric Blair, and I need a motion to approve and put on file his report. First by Smith, second by Parker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. I know that you've got a busy morning with another meeting right after this, so I'm going to keep this as brief as possible, but I would like to let you know a little bit about what's going on in the department, what has been going on in December, and what's going to be happening as we close out the year and get into the new year, actually. So a couple of things this week that are really big. I held the annual meeting with the township assessors on Monday. That is a statutory requirement of my position. So we talked about a number of things in there as far as any legislation that's gone through, which really honestly this year nothing has changed our process, to percentage change requirements for each township that may be coming up in 2025, my projections anyway, and just a number of other assessment issues that we go over each year. The other big thing that happened yesterday is we had the last set of Board of Review hearings yesterday, and so we were able to close that out at about 2:30 yesterday. I'll be spending the next couple of days making sure, and I already know this, but I'm going to verify it, that we don't need equalization at the Board of Review level because we did not reduce enough value. We'd have to lose about 1% or a little over 1% of overall value in order to need equalization at the Board of Review level, and that's probably somewhere in the vicinity of $25 to $30 million. We probably lost. I haven't checked yet, but just as an example, last year we lost about $4.5 million, so it wasn't even close. This year we had fewer appeals than last year, so I expect it to be right around that number or even less. Okay. What's coming up is just what I said. I'm going to check the final abstract equalization if necessary, and I don't think that there will be. On Friday, we're going to close out the Board of Review. The Board of Review is going to adjourn for the year on the 20th of December. That's the earliest I've ever been able to do it. In 10 years, I've always finished the work in the same year that we started, which I'm very, very proud of. But usually it's the week of Christmas, and it's usually I'm Scrooge having a couple of meetings during the week of Christmas. And this year I've been able to actually move things around so that the week of Christmas is not so difficult on me and the people who need to be here for those meetings. So we're going to adjourn the Board of Review for the year on Friday, and I'm really happy about that, December 20th. Once I do that, then I can turn over all of the documents necessary to the county clerk so that he can send those into the state. I'll have a few questions that they'll have some questions for me, routine questions that I'll be able to answer in January, and then we'll get a final abstract certification in early 2025 so that the clerk can go ahead with extension. I did call DevNet, our administrative software company, and I called them a few weeks ago just to get ahead of the game. I grabbed the first available business day for them to roll us to 2025, which is going to be Tuesday, January 7th in the afternoon. They'll roll us to 2025. And at that point, then we will begin to prepare the assessment books and distribute them to the townships no later, I would say, than the 10th or so of January. So then the townships can begin their work for 2025 and get through all of that. And so in closing, before I take any questions, I just wanted to let you folks know I didn't want to take up your time today. When I come next month, I'd like to bring a very brief summary of what happens in my department and what our responsibilities are on a quarterly basis, essentially. So I have it on one sheet of paper that takes you through January through March, and then April through June, and so on. It won't take long to do it, but I thought it might be better to hold it off until January to discuss that with you, so that you kind of know what's coming up for the year. As I'm talking through it each month, you'll have an understanding of where we are and where we're headed. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions, folks.
Any questions? Ms. Foster?
Good morning. I just wanted to say that I've spoke with you a couple of times, and you've always been helpful. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hunter?
Just a real brief comment, Mr. Chairman. Eric, you know, you're a consummate professional.
Thank you.
And you're a bastion of a wealth of information. And prior to me being on this board, I understand that you're a consultant.
Can you speak into the mic?
Oh, am I not? I'm sorry. That you're a valuable asset to other assessors throughout the state, and that you're held in high regard and esteem for your skill sets and your knowledge that you provide to your proteges.
I'd certainly like to hope so. Thank you for bringing that up. I get a lot of help from other people, and I like to try to contribute myself as well on things that I hold a lot of mastery over in my profession. There are ways that I can get better, but there are ways that I can help other people get better as well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
You all, everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, folks.
Yes, sir. We're happy to have you back. Next up, we have the County Clerk's Monthly Report. I need a motion to approve and put on file.
Polk.
First by Polk, second by Foster. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dan?
I'll be briefer. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Otherwise, I'm out of here.
Anyone have any questions? Questions? All right, thank you, Dan.
Perfect. Happy
Perfect.
New Year.
Great. All right, that one went quick. Next up, we have the Recorder's Monthly Report. I need a motion to approve and put that on file. First by Carrico, second by Hunter. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Welcome, Lori.
Good morning. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah. There's a lot to update, but I'll really be brief. Probably since some of you were on my committee before, you know, we were doing a book project and a microfilm project tomorrow the new film is being delivered. We're very excited. All the old film fiche cards that have vinegar syndrome, the cabinets are all leaving here tomorrow. We're very excited about that. The books are back. Only half of them were completed with the laminating. We're trying to find another vendor that can finish the project. The other company went out of business. But that's okay, because we have the books. With that being said, everything else is good in the office. You have my report, you have my fiscal year end, and that's about it. So if you have questions, let me know.
Any questions?
$382.45.
Mm-hmm.
With you.
$2 million.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's $2 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Any questions? Mrs. Weber?
To comment, thank you. It's the best of the year.
It is.
And that's what we're saying.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to happen again, so don't look forward to it. It's an anomaly. And I always say this, there's good things that are happening in Kankakee County. We don't see that on a daily basis, but in my office we do, because of the transactions that are coming in and taking place. So I'm very proud to serve this county, as I'm sure all of you are, and we just need to keep reminding people how great we are.
Yes, we are. Thank you for your update, Lori. Have a good day.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So this is a rare instance, but Craig is going to take over because I have a meeting, and that probably will never happen again, but I'm going to let him take over the reins and continue this meeting.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're at AWAC for Tinker.
Yep, got it. Okay, we need an update for the animal welfare. Tinker Parker, are you ready? Very good. We can't. 15?
It's been a year and
Tina?
a half.
Tinker?
Yes.
My fault, I didn't get you on mic fast enough.
Oh, okay.
Could you
I was
start
going to
over?
say,
Sorry.
it's been a year and a half, and to give an animal lover a microphone, I'll be as brief as I possibly can. We have been really busy, and as far as meeting, we've got some new members on the committee that are absolutely wonderful. We're still looking for one shelter representative to be on our committee. Right now, it's the education of what exactly animal control can and cannot do, where they can serve and where they cannot serve. So that has been a huge problem. So we want to get out into the community to let more people know exactly what animal control can and cannot do. And also in the future, going to be working with State's Attorney Jim Breaux on an animal welfare educational seminar / conference, hopefully in the spring. And we hope to bring a lot of the community shelters together, and veterans with service dogs and others that are all involved in animals. So if anyone would like to participate, please let me know and I'll put you on a committee. So, but that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much for
You're
that.
welcome.
I think later in our thing here we have ask for the AWAC. So, all right, moving on to administrative appointments and reappointments. Would we like to combine and approve these the next couple of items, appointments and reappointments?
Yes.
Anybody? Tinker first and Ms. Weber second. All in favor? Okay, so reappointment of Chad Miller to the Economic Alliance Board, reappointment of Rosemary Foster to the Economic Alliance Board, appointment of Ryan Marion to the Economic Alliance Board, and appointment of Matthew Alexander Hildebrand to the Economic Alliance Board. The resignation of Dr. I'm going to say it's Sarita Jones from the Kankakee Board of Health. That should be in your packet. There's a letter from her. Moving on. We have a number of openings. Okay, I'm sorry. All in favor of that combined motion? Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay, very good.
So the following openings are available. One opening on the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee that Tinker talked about. One opening on the Historic Preservation Commission, a historian. 2 openings on the Kankakee County Public Building Commission. 1 opening on the Clausen Park Drainage District. 1 opening on the Exline Creek Drainage District. 1 opening on the Gar Creek Drainage District. 1 opening on the Little Beaver Special Drainage District. 1 opening on the Mantino Drainage District number 9. 1 opening on the Kankakee County Board of Health, a dentist. 1 opening on the Kankakee County Waterways Advisory Subcommittee. So those are the openings. I think, I'm not sure, we've never done this, or I've never done this before, so we're going to kind of wade our way through this. We've had 3 applicants for the Waterway Advisory, and they are David Skelly, Todd Huntley, and Frank Kohler. And I see at least 2 of the 3 here today, and I'd like to do short interviews with each of those persons. So is David Skelly here? David Skelly? The next one on the list is Todd Huntley, and if you'd like to go to the mic in the back there, if you know what, why don't you come on up here so people can see you.
Well, good. You got my back. I appreciate it. Well, how are you doing?
Welcome. Very good. So Todd and I know each other from a long, long time ago. So I have some questions up here, and if the members think of some others they'd like to ask, let's do that. I'm going to start off with what motivated you to apply for a position on the River Advisory Subcommittee, and what do you hope to achieve through this role?
Well, first off, I'm Todd Huntley. I recently retired about 60 days ago from the Kankakee County Sheriff's Department after being there for about 35 years. I first started off on the River Patrol in 1989. From 1989 to 1993, while being on the River Patrol, we used the river from Aroma Park all the way to the spillway there by Schuyler Avenue in Kankakee. So I have a lot of knowledge of the river above the dam. I also have a lot of knowledge below the dam, around the Indian Caves. From the age of 5 to 15, I would fish that about every other day. I care about our river. That's part of the reason why I'm here. And the other thing is it is changed. I'm concerned that if we don't start removing sediment from the river, what may or may not happen, that's a scary thing. We've all been lucky enough to not have to worry about where our water comes from, and when you turn the spigot on, there's water there. What ifs, so it's a concern of mine above the spillway to Aroma Park. So yeah.
So kind of stole my thunder here. The next question was, what is your experience with the river? And I think you've already answered that pretty well.
Yeah.
And what specialty and expertise do you bring to the table? Kind of also asked and answered here. So the last question that we have in front of us is, this group meets on the even months of the year, the first Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Is that a time period that you could come and be with us to help us make decisions?
Yes.
Okay. Anything from the board members that would like to ask of Mr. Huntley? Mr. Hunter, what number are you, Mr. Hunter? 13?
13.
Got it.
Mr. Huntley, can you fill me in on when Kankakee City bought the jet boat? And I think you said that you were on the River Patrol.
Correct.
And also, could you give us some of the illustrative examples of what that entailed?
The Kankakee River Patrol went from being part-time to being a full-time position at the sheriff and city level, okay? I was there during the part-time, and what happened was between 89, you went to the auxiliary training. You actually got paid a salary, which was $5 an hour, to work on the Kankakee River. On Saturdays and Sundays is when we worked. And it was agreement, basically it was volunteer. Then the trailer was located down by Beckman Park.
Yep.
And after the years that I was there, it actually gave me the stepping stone of being part-time to being full-time at the Sheriff's Department. I met some officers, and they allowed me to ride in the wintertime. That's the reason I got involved with the Sheriff's Department. And, you know, I did my time, which was 34 years there, and then I retired. But the river, I have knowledge of the river. We used to use the ramp in Aroma Park daily to launch our boats in and out of there. And within the last 10 years, that's all filled in. You can't launch a boat there anymore. So it's a concern of mine. That's, again, with that. But the jet boat portion or that came after I left.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't have any knowledge of the jet boat portion of that.
You know, this dredging program that the county's involved in, if you were to be appointed, would you interface and interface with Craig along with Carrico on that particular project?
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
One other quick one. I did at one time have a pontoon boat, and I used that portion of the river. I rented a space from the park district, and my family would go out 3 times a week as a night off. So, and I had to sell the boat within the last 5 years due to sediment. You couldn't even get to Ryan's Pier. So,
very good. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you for coming in.
Appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Good to see you, Joanne.
All right. The next person for interview is Frank Kohler. Frank, why don't you come on up here? Have a seat. Very good.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. You know, this is a learning curve, so why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can kind of run through these questions.
Okay, yeah, it's just confuse people. It's Frank Kohler. Just on that, no relation to the chiropractor, however. But I'm a avid paddler of Kankakee River. I see it as really as an economic development asset to the area. You know, shortly after the designation of the river as a national water trail, helped put together the Potawatomi Paddlers kayak organization, and have paddled, the stretch of the river really from state line all the way into Wilmington, and have seen the changes. And I think greater access to the river for paddlers and canoeists I think is critical, but also the concerns for the sediment buildup as well. Many of you recall a couple of years ago I helped organize the Kankakee River Watershed. It was a one-day conference that was held at the Kankakee Community College, and we talked about all those issues that were being spoken about on the river itself.
Very good. So the next question is, what motivated you to apply?
Just, my love for the river and the concern and the direction that the river is headed, no pun intended, but just, that changes need to be made to protect the river moving forward.
The next question is, what is your experience? You've already kind of told us that you formed some groups and have some...
I've had over 40 years experience in local government, having served as the village administrator in Bourbonnais from 1996 to 2010, currently on the Bourbonnais Planning Commission, and I've interacted with many county board members and many communities along the river.
Very good. The next one is specialties that you bring or expertise that you bring. Kind of already answered that.
Yeah, just the workings of local government and the county, and how to try and build consensus to get things done.
Very good. And so the last question is about the meeting times. You've actually been to a meeting or two.
Just the one.
Just the one.
Recently, yes.
And we meet the odd or the even months. It's the first Thursday at 8:30 a.m.
Yeah, that would not be
no. Not a problem for you. Very good. All right, members. Any questions that come to mind that you'd like to ask Frank? Mr. Ciascia, what is your number? 15. Carrico. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Carrico.
I wasn't sure who we were calling. I just changed my name. I'm sorry. But anyways, Frank, I just like to ask you: did you attend the meeting of the advisory committee this month, and what would be your interpretation of the meeting? What's the impression that you received, and how was everything during the time that you?
I thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to attend that. I like the direction things are going. Certainly the grants that have come in, the purchase of the equipment. I understand the dredging, unfortunately, has been delayed till the spring, but I think it's moving in the right direction. I think that's a very real concern there in Aroma Park. The mere fact that there's now vegetation growing on the sandbar, indicates that sediment continues to come into the river itself. And I was very impressed by the actions of the committee thus far.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Anybody else? Mr. Hunter, you got your hand up, or you're just exercising, or?
I'll just say this. I'm impressed with the candidates. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, looking at the resumes and the applications and stuff, are we going to vote on this today, or are we going to defer?
We are not. We are going to defer because Matt is not here.
Right.
And we'll have an opportunity to watch the video, and we'll arrive at a decision and make an appointment at the next executive session.
Now, the composition of this committee, is that set by ordinance or statute in terms of the number?
I do not know that.
Okay, no problem. Is it? Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Very good.
I know.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Anybody else with a question? Very good. Go ahead, Doctor.
Do we just have to have one? Is that what you're saying? We
I
can only
think
pick
currently
one?
there is an opening for one that is appointed by the county board. So
Not an alternate? Couldn't have one and an alternate just in
I
case?
know it's going to be hard to choose, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that. We can ask that question. If we could have one and an alternate. Mr. Carrico, number 15.
Thank you, sir. We've done this before where we had two candidates and we had one appointed and the other one was an alternate.
Okay, very good. So might be a solution to a problem, because I see a couple of really good candidates here, so very good. Anything else that we need to talk about?
Just real briefly, the ordinance is in place that sets the makeup of the committee. So any changes to that would have to be a change to the ordinance that you guys have already approved.
Okay. Very good.
So that means we could have one and then an alternate.
Sure.
Is that
I think it probably has to be decided if the alternate has a vote or not, or the primary has the vote and the alternate can only vote when the primary is gone. So we can ask those questions of our legal and kind of clear that up and work on a good decision there. Anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I just welcome the opportunity to be involved. Thank you.
Mr. Kirschner, what number are you?
14.
Got it. Go ahead.
Just a question. So far everything has been focused on the dredging, just simply the dredging of the river. And this project is actually a lot more than just the dredging that's going to be going on. There's going to be other work done along the river for improvements and so on and so forth. Are you aware of those projects that are going on, and do you have any comment about that?
No, I'm aware. I know it's just not the dredging. There's some bank stabilization that needs to be taking place. There's some tree removal that needs to be taking place long term, to keep those channels open. And I think it's really a comprehensive approach. It's not any one item, but all those need to be addressed. The real challenge, like in anything in government, is going to be the long-term funding. And trying to, once that dredging takes place, are the resources there, the wherewithal there to keep that initiative moving forward.
Very good. Anybody else? Any other questions? Very good. Thank you, Frank.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in.
Happy holidays to everybody.
Very good. All right. So the process at this point, number one, we're going to have to go back to see if we can have an alternate. Number two, we'll sit down and kind of go through this and make some decisions based upon what legal tells us. Okay. So we'll be doing that in the future. County board members, if you haven't seen it, there was a pretty nice article about what happened Monday out by the launch by our resident reporter here, and we appreciate the coverage. And yes, there's actually two projects going on. There was $1 million project for the boat launch, a safety issue, and then the rest of it is the $7 million for the equipment, etc., for cleaning up of the shoreline. So just to kind of clear up your comment there. Anything else we need to discuss here for our meeting today? Miss Parker?
I just wanted to make just one announcement. Winter and cold weather's coming up. Please make sure that your outside animals are properly sheltered and that they have water that's not going to freeze up.
Very good. Thank you for reminding us.
We have extreme temperature ordinances in place, and we want to make sure, first of all, our animals are all safe.
Very good. Very good. All right. We have new business or old business. Anybody have something? Mr. Hess.
Make a motion to adjourn so we can start the next meeting.
Thank you. We're only 30 minutes behind. Do we have a second? Mr. Carrico, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you much.